Hey everybody! Oops, I should probably take this off so you can see what this is. How's it going? I'm in the shop here, buffing tees. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. You can see all the dust from these things. So what I do is I take the tees for the kit. You can see the casting flash on them. And then I use these wheels here, and I buff it all off, and I throw them in the box, so that this casting flash doesn't have any chance of allowing water to leak by, because I don't want that. With the newer hoses, if your car is new, it's not really an issue because the rubber is able to conform to a small groove like that. But if you have an older Subaru and the heater hose has gotten a little harder, then I don't want you to have a leak because you installed my kit. That'd be shitty, right? So I go through and I hit all these T's on here. Anyways, so the main reason for this video is that when I first created this kit, I knew that people were going to copy it. You know, I figured I had a year or so, maybe less, before it was copied. And, you know, that happened. That absolutely happened. And a lot of them were built incorrectly with wrong internal diameters and all kinds of stuff, which just showed that they were just looking at the idea of moving water, thinking more was better, and not understanding that there was a certain amount that was too much flow through the head to upset the balance of the rest of the cooling system. And so much of the kits are like that. And yeah, it bugs me, of course, because no one likes copycats, but as anyone who's seen Cartboy stuff, or you know, anybody else knows that stuff gets copied. You know, Cartboy was one of the best short shifters. Now there's like exact replicas on the market, and they're weaker and they break and everything else, but you know, so I knew copies would happen. And as much as I hate it, I knew it's just kind of a fact of business. What I didn't know, however, was that other people were going to claim responsibility for my work and say that it was their idea. Oh, it's like a little hat now, isn't it? Yeah, so that I didn't know. And that is really hard for me. I'm having a hard time with that. It makes me very angry when I see these videos by the copycat people saying that they came up with it, and then they provide comically inaccurate data that shows what it does with temperatures that aren't even physically possible in the engine, and then they have them in the wrong spots and just all kinds of stuff. So, you know, here's this company who shall remain nameless, but they make a video showing the benefits of this kit, and they've got data that isn't even physically possible. That doesn't even happen in a normally unmodified engine, much less a modified engine. Like, it's just it's silly, and it just goes to show they have no freaking idea how it actually works. They're just out there to copy it and then say that they freaking made it up, and that's just, you know, that one burns me. And so what's happening is, on the forums, a lot of my friends and customers are tagging me in these threads, and these threads are happening now almost as commonly as what oil should have used threads. It's hard. It's absolutely hard, and I totally appreciate the outpouring of support by the community, because there are so many people that are, you know, saying, hey, get the real stuff, don't support the copycats. And that's I truly appreciate that. Well, my hair looks wonderful, doesn't it? I truly appreciate that, but multiple times a day I'm being reminded that some slimy guy is trying to take credit for my innovation and my research and everything, and that's hard. It's hard to be reminded every day, multiple times a day, that there's somebody out there who's dishonest and is stealing, you know, it's like stolen valor, you know. But the idea and trying to take responsibility for it when they clearly didn't, and they still don't know what the heck it does. And they've even used my exact keywords during my explanation videos and things like that, just almost literally parodying a lot of the stuff that I say. Anyway, so the main reason for the video is that I truly appreciate you guys. I truly appreciate everybody backing me up on me backing up with this part. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. It's a little emotional, to be honest with you. So I totally appreciate everybody backing me up. I truly do. But please, just tag me less. It's hard to see it multiple times a day and be reminded of it constantly. Well, I do appreciate the support, though. I really, truly do, and I thank you very much for that. You know, buying from a guy like me who innovates things and who's been innovating things for Subarus for, you know, a decade now. the money goes back into more innovation, because I love to innovate. I love R&D. I love problem solving. I love doing that kind of stuff. And so I do it because I thoroughly enjoy it, but because it makes our platform better. And long rods. Mike and I were the first guys to really do the long rod thing and make the 2.3D strokers, popular. Granted, they're not for everybody, but like things like that. And then put them at 2.5 liters, and then utilizing gas ports and super pistons that wasn't used before. There's a lot of stuff that I've been a part of that's now being used in some of the fastest engines in the world and stuff. And it's that's a bit of pride for me, even though most people don't realize that it was me or my research or my help, that went into it. But it's still a source of pride. And as far as I know, I still tuned and helped build the fastest car that's gone up Pikes Peak, fastest Subaru up Pikes Peak. Most don't finish, and this one finished the first time ever. And so there's a lot of little things that I'm proud of. And while they don't get me any fame and they don't get me any fortune or whatever, I'm just proud to be part of the community. But again, like I said, I'm more happy and proud to innovate and do R&D. And so I've been working on some other stuff. I'm still working on the variable power steering for the hydraulic systems. I think I've almost got it all ironed out. It's really cool. I did it once on accident on my own car. And then I'm trying to make a way that doesn't involve having a failure for it to work on your car. So I've almost got it all figured out, and I'm really excited about that. It's really awesome for cars that are on the track. The feedback you get to the steering wheel is unparalleled. Power steering removes so much of what you feel when you're driving. And then with this variable power steering system, man, it is awesome. It really is cool. So I'm looking forward to getting that finished up. I'm still working on my remote oil filter setup. It's not as big of a thing. Obviously, it's not huge on my list, but it's something I am doing because I think that there's room to improve in oil filtration and oil pressure regulation. So it's a modular system that you can just stack on pieces, bolt them to the next one, bolt to the next one, bolt to the next one. It's a modular system that you can do, filters in parallel and an external oil pressure regulator. So you would defeat the regulator in the oil pump, which is great because it minimizes aeration and shearing of the oil by having it internally bypass in the pump and just run the same oil through the regulator over and over again. This puts the regulator outside of that flow path and returns the bypassed oil into the pan. And that helps your oil last longer and helps your pressure be more stable, less pressure oscillations. Also, the regulator is placed after the filter, so the oil pressure is controlled on the other side, so that oil filter restriction doesn't affect oil pressure to the engine. And so I'm excited about getting that. And so it's just a modular system. You can choose to put one filter on there and not use the regulator. You can choose to put 5 filters in line if you want to have a bank of filters across the back of your engine bay or wherever you put them. And then have the regulator, and then also option of an oil cooler bypass so that you can run oil to the cooler instead. So it's just a modular system, and it's going to work with pretty much all cars. But I'm targeting it, more for the Subaru guys. And right now the thought is that I'm going to use the BMW style cartridge filters with the little cap, the screw-on cap, so that oil changes involve spilling a whole lot less oil. And I know I love that, and I'm sure everybody else does too. So that's a really cool system I'm working on. That one's expensive because I have to have multiple parts cast, and getting in tooling for casting is really expensive. But I'm excited about that one. And then the two that are taking a lot of time and money are the main bearing girdles. It's not really a girdle, it's more of a support. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give it away. But as many people know, one of the big problems with the EJ is that the mains open up, especially the number 2 and number 4 main, being directly in between the cylinders. There's a lot of pressure from the crankshaft. And our cranks aren't as stout as people like to say they are. They do flex and bend, and that's what wears out that main bearing. But also the fact that the aluminum is so soft behind the bearing allows the bearing to compress the aluminum and then open that main bearing clearance up. And it's not even the bearing itself that's becoming thinner or getting wore out. It's the aluminum behind the bearing that's getting compressed. And so my part reinforces that whole area and makes the main line stiffer to minimize any of that distortion. And by doing that also increases the crankshaft support, which is really cool. But that one is taking a lot of time. That's a tough one to get. Subarus don't have the most clearance, of anything. And the other one is intake manifold. I'm working on a dual plenum, dual runner length, or variable runner length manifold, like the Subarus have, or Subarus, the Toyotas have on some of their 4 and 6 cylinders. But I'm doing it for the Subarus because I think that we can have both faster spool and more top end horsepower. And we have systems already in place on the Subaru that will allow us to utilize a feature like that. But that one's taking a long time. I wouldn't expect that one for another year or so. But variable power steering and the oil filter thing is on the horizon. And it's because you guys purchased my cooling mod and my engine components, my custom cam profiles. I just released those, and my the cams have features on them like forced lobe oiling, which no Subaru cam has, and it actually puts oil directly to the cam lobes themselves to minimize the issues that we experience with Subarus flattening the lobes due to lack of lubrication. So I tackled that one. I also have a special finish on the lobe that also improves oil retention and minimizes the oil getting scraped off of the bucket. So those cams are available. Well, they're manufacturing right now. Kelford's doing them. So it's got my lobe design, and then I got to bring the cams over here, and then I do the finishing with doing the drilling for the forced oiling and the stuff that I got to do, and the final lobe finish. I got to do that as well. But Kelford's doing the actual grind on the cams for the profile on their blanks. So that's really cool. And this cam design I have is it's unique, but it borrows some cues from some of Kelford's other cams as far as the lobe design is concerned. But it definitely is a profile that I believe tests will show once I get more to test. I've been using very, very similar grinds in a lot of my engine builds now, and these cars idle amazing, drive amazing, and make great horsepower up top. Matt Meadows has one of the prototype grinds, and Junior tuned it for him, and he's always saying, "Holy crap! Like I can't believe how good this car runs." So it's based on that design, and it's a cool setup. It should run almost a $9,000, maybe higher. I don't know. I mean, the math says it could do it, but you know, real world is always a little bit different than the math. And it should make for cars that are able to run efficiently, have broad power bands, and still yet make a lot of horsepower on the top end. And then that's it, really. Just, you know, a lot of little stuff going on. And I couldn't do it without you guys. I couldn't do it without your support. I couldn't do it without you backing me up on these products. I've seen people change their orders from the other guy's kit to my kit only because everyone showed them, hey man, here's those videos. This proves that Dom did it first. You know, buy it from the right guy. So I totally appreciate it, guys. You're helping me out on that. And you're making it possible for me to still go to college and get all these projects done at the same time. It's really awesome. So thank you. I appreciate all you guys and your support a ton. Just please tag me in less of those threads, because it still breaks my heart every time I see it, and it distracts me. I like to stay focused on the task at hand and not sit there and stew over some jerk stealing my ideas, and I'm sure you guys all understand what that's like. So thank you very much. And today's Sunday, September 29th, the day after my birthday, and for my birthday I got snow. The fuck is that? In September, and a cold. So happy birthday to me. And so anyways, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and go Hawks.